We're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. Hi, welcome to the Wingmen Show. My name is Drew Brown. We hope to inspire, entertain, and learn something so we can all make this world a better place for our children. I'd like to introduce to you somebody who's my friend, my wingman, my main man, and I have a wingman watching my back, Dr. Paul Thompson. Hey, Paul, what's happening?
Oh, not much. Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Thompson, and you just heard from Mr. Drew Brown, Dark Gable. He's the American dream. He's the man, the myth, the legend, the pilot's pilot, the role model's role model, and most importantly, his royal fullness. How are you doing today, Mr. Dark Gable?
I'm doing great, and I'm glad I'm full of knowledge, Paul. I'm glad I'm full of knowledge. Well, we're going to have a great show right now. Check this out. Dr. Paul, another great wingman story for you today.
Well, you got a good one for us.
Oh, man, let me ask you this. Is it possible that education could stop somebody from going to Africa? That's the question I'd like to ask.
It's more like lack of education would stop you from going to Africa.
Not for this wingman story.
Okay.
Education stopped this wingman story from going to Africa.
Okay.
That's the twist on it. Now, look, before I did my Peloton weights and stretches this morning, guess what I did? Little Drew, I didn't tell you this before because I wanted to see your reaction. Have you ever heard of Shakti? Shakti. Anyway, real quick, it's a pad that you lay on that actually resembles spikes like the Indians, you know, in India, they used to lay on a bed of nails. Well, these are real little tiny spikes. They don't puncture the skin, but they hurt like hell. But you can get over it with breathing. And I did 15 minutes on my back today, and I did 5 minutes on my front. And believe me, it's amazing strength in the mind to continue this. And after a while, the pain does go away. It's tolerable. My son, the doctor, he's right again.
So is this a treatment, or are you getting ready for an Ironman?
No, marathon? this is acupuncture. This is going to help me because, you know, you were telling me about some aches and pains you had. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's going to happen. Cellular. I'm getting older. I am 17 now with 50 years experience.
Right.
That's what I am. Yeah. What'd you do? Didn't you go to Costco or something?
Yeah, I got some good stuff at Costco yesterday. See, I like the Costco near us. It's a business Costco. So it doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it's got a lot of stuff. And I always get my gas there for obvious reasons.
Me too.
One is cheaper. Two, there's like nobody there. The place is 100
me
people.
Too.
There's like two people in front of you. Right. I got my supplies for the next 2 weeks. And I got there just in the morning when they're just loading all the stuff. You get your choice of everything. They're still I didn't realize how much stuff they're putting out there.
Right. Because if you miss something at Costco, don't think you're going to get it next time you go back. It might be gone and not come back. That's one of the main rules at Costco. If you like something, buy it.
That's true. So
you know what month this is?
It is the month of February, Black History Month.
Black History Month. This is not for African Americans. This is just for Black people this month. So I wanted to say this because I've been wanting to say this for a very long time, an extremely long time, about Black history and how I feel about it, period. And this is my opportunity. I think Black history is the stupidest thing ever. It is history, and everybody should learn everything. When we learned history in school, they did not designate it as white history. They designated it as history.
Correct.
What Black people did to come from slavery to the president is history. It's mega cool. And see, unless we all learn about all history, we won't ever learn to live together because we are all one people. It's called the human race. And it's almost amazing. I have so many things I'd like to say, but we don't get into politics because I really can't go there anymore. You know, I want to be happy. I'm not kidding. I got 37 more years left and I want to be happy. But Black History Month, I want to hear your take on it. But I think it is disgraceful to call it Black history. That's history. The Tuskegee Airmen? Are you kidding? They wouldn't even let blacks in the military. These guys covered the bombers and never lost one. You want to call that Black history? I don't think so.
Well, it's been going on for a long time. The whole term Black history actually started with a guy named Carter G. Woodson in 1926. And his goal was actually just to have a week was devoted to Black history because there was nothing covering it. And it's been, a football back and forth for a long time. It was actually in 1976 that President Gerald Ford actually recognized it. That's when it became official, believe it or not. I came from the White House. And it's for, to recognize the accomplishments of people who were not recognized before. So we get into a problem with the naming, but it's the way things are going now. You may not even be able to hear that longer. They want to take everything out of the schools. That's another discussion, but this may be a short-lived thing. I'm not sure why there's such great fear, but there are a lot of things that just don't go mentioned. You don't know, but the great grand Ayatollah, he gave me some information because he's big into heavy industrial stuff, repair and design, and particularly refrigeration. That's his specialty, probably from the time he was a teenager. But he was telling me about Thomas McKinley, who invented the refrigerated truck. So if you ever heard of Thermo King, that whole thing, that came from a Black man out of Minneapolis in the 30s. I didn't know this.
No, that's history. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's history. It's just pure history because everybody, we need refrigerated trucks. That's how you get your stuff in Costco.
Learning about Black people really shows you about the human instinct to survive and to get better and to be free. That's what we should learn, because there have been slaves for centuries and they're not black. They're all different colors, but man always comes through. And starting this month, guess what we just got? HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, just got bomb threats. Now, I must say this. This show right here, we represent education. I know the way to have a great life. You get an education, you get a skill, you learn it, you're the best at it, and you'll be great. That it takes time. That's all. Oh, I wanted to say something about that Shakti again.
Okay.
Every time you progress, you have to go through some sort of pain. Mm-hmm. You have to go through some sort of hardship. Just like going to school, you have to study. You have to do something that actually hurts a little bit to grow, just like lifting weights. Your muscles have to tear down to build up. So it's the same thing that I'm talking about with Black history. It's the same thing that this HBCU bomb threats. How about this? They're really smart for doing that. I hate to say it. Those crackers are smart because those are the leaders. Those are the leaders of this country. They're in Black colleges. They're in colleges all over. But as far as Black people, they're in those Black universities. I went to a Black university, Southern University, New Orleans, greatest time in my life. Well, I've had a lot of great times in my life, but that was one of them, going to college in New Orleans. I'll tell you that, playing basketball there. So I love HBCUs. What do you think, Doc?
I think that, bomb threats are not new. The timing of them is probably, is an organized group. But I think that the societal fears of change are driving a lot of folks just totally out of their minds. They can't really articulate what they're scared of, but it's there. It's all on fear. Yeah, look, there was like 18 schools that were threatened. And there is a history of bombing and killing and blowing up churches and murdering people in churches with guns. And that goes back 150 years. But that's not going to work. That's not going to work. You're not going to stop everybody. You can terrorize. Terror is not unusual. Terror is not unusual. The place came up on terror. I remember the 16th Street bombings in Birmingham. I think it's the 16th Street Church, 16th or 9th Street. That was a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement in 1963. It's nothing new. And there'll be more bombings. There are lots of bombings that were never really reported, some successful, some not successful. So that's going to happen, unfortunately. That's the nature of things. But that doesn't stop progress.
No, no, sir. It does not stop progress.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about terror, Dr. Paul? You know what people got shown a lot of terror from people who came to this country? The Native Americans, because they were terrorized. They were terrorized and almost became extinct. But guess what I just found out about our Native Americans? You know, they have the highest opioid overdose rate in the country.
I didn't know that.
And, you know, we never hear about it. And the only reason I'm telling you that now is because Johnson & Johnson and these other big drug companies just settled for $590 million for all the tribes in the country. They make $590 million in 15 minutes.
Right.
So you think about going through all the tribes. It's not going to get to the people who really need it.
Yeah.
Point being, we did do something for our Native American brothers. And this makes me sick. We've renamed the Washington football team. Isn't that something? And then that'll help you out of the ghetto. They're calling them the Commanders, believe it or not. And I heard on TV, that means in short, they're going to be the Washington Commies. It's kind of funny. What do you think about the Native American problem?
Okay, well, I didn't know they had the highest opioid. I would have figured it somewhere in the Midwest or the rural South. Didn't know they had the worst. I guess the depression on the reservations is bad. I did go on a reservation in Seminole Country in Florida some years ago, and it was a tour. It was an eye-opening tour. And I think this tribe, I think they own the Hard Rock Casino. So there's a mixture of poverty and I wouldn't say opulence, but some of them lived pretty good, and some did. It's no place that I'd want to be honest with you. But they were nice people. The settlement
too nice is the problem, and the white man, as they call it, took advantage of their kindness.
Well, yeah, I mean, historically, if you look at the tribes in the Caribbean, the Arawaks and the Caribs, I forget which one. One of them is more warlike, the other is peaceful, and the peaceful ones got wiped out pretty quick. Yeah, that typically happens. That's just the life. High technology versus low technology. High technology wins.
And you don't want to know something really racist now that I think about it? You know, all those different tribes, they didn't all like each other. No. So they were killing each other also.
Yes.
And you know what we're doing in a way by saying Native Americans? We're almost saying Asians are Chinese and Japanese. They're the same people. Mm-hmm. We don't even distinguish that. So I don't want people to think that Indians just sat by and, you know, if the white man didn't come here, there were no problems. They were killing each other.
That's true in every continent.
It's called the human trait. It's called the human trait. Well, money. How about this? It was our worst month yet for stocks. And inflation is going through the roof. And I have an answer, Dr. Paul, to both.
Okay, I'm ready.
When the stocks go down, when it's the worst day or the worst month, if you have stocks, the answer is don't look. They'll come back. But if you want to feel like shit, then look at your stocks when they go down. But I don't look then. I only look when I know that it's going to be a good view. And they always come up. That's the point. I'm not just being silly here. Stocks always come up. But with inflation, this is a Drew Brownism. No kidding. When inflation hits, make more money. You have the ability to change that. Your skill, your work ethic. Remember we were talking about working hard? Well, it's a little uncomfortable to make a little bit more money. But you can fight anything. But it's upon yourself to do it. You are the master of this life. You and God.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, you say you don't look. It's like, well, if you're going off a cliff, maybe you want to look.
But you're not going off a cliff. That's the point. Well, you always come back. If you always come back, why look at the cliff?
Okay, that assumes you invested in something worthwhile, not crazy.
Well, I mean, you have to know what you're doing here, Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to tell people what I do. I go through Fidelity, and now I've given it to a team of experts.
Okay.
Before I made my money picking stocks. Now, I'm not talking about crazy penny stocks. I'm not talking about, get rich schemes. I'm talking about Apple. I'm talking about McDonald's. I'm talking about General Electric, not General Motors.
Right.
Blue chip stocks. And when you learn that, they go up and down, but they always,
Right.
from the beginning of time, stocks go up.
Right. Well, you talk about you individually, but still, you went to Fidelity, so you've got a set of wingmen who are watching your back and front.
100%. I found out from those guys in the New York subway who used to fold their New York Times. I've said it many a times. What the hell are those little numbers you're looking at? Well, that's where wealthy people make money, in the market. That's where they're able to invest their money. Somebody once told me, and this is true, have your money make money.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Live off the interest.
Well, America's not doing too good. We're in national debt. This is funny, Doc, and I have to hear what you got to say. We're in national debt. We owe $30 trillion. Now, you and I are both educated. You went to the University of Pittsburgh. We are both educated. Who do we owe this money to? And what happens if we don't pay? And why can't we just print more money? If you can answer those questions right there, I'd appreciate it, because I never learned. It's like the biggest BS in the world. What are they going to take our rent away in America?
They take you away. Well, I mean, it's like debt and deficits. They talked about deficits. Country operates at a deficit per year. You spend more money you take in the form of taxes and all this other stuff. And the national debt is the accumulation of all of those deficits. And now they said all those deficits total 30 billion. So who do you owe the money to? Well, whoever buys your notes, your treasury bills, your bonds, your notes, those T notes. And a lot of times they're foreign governments. In the 80s, Japan held a lot of it.
China does.
Now China does too, and whoever else. So if someone comes to collect, maybe you owe them. Maybe say, you're late on your payment, and I want California.
Okay, but that's not going to happen. And that's the ludicrous part about this. That's not, we owe China money. And I hate to say this, but what they've done with human rights and other things that we don't like, so what? So what? And who knows if you print more money anyway? It's all. That's why you got to take care of yourself.
The reality is nothing's really printed. This is all digital money. It's all numbers on a sheet or on your computer screen. It's not currency. If you went to your bank,
no more Fort Knox.
No. You go to your bank. Hey, I want all my money. He couldn't do it. He probably couldn't do it. You get a couple grand here and there. They don't carry that much cash. It's all theoretical money. And things are going crazy. It follows the investment cycle. The whole business cycle. You got expansion. It's like a sine wave. You got expansion, a peak, recession, real bad depression. Then it comes back up again, expansion peak. Like you said, things come back. A recession is when you get 2 consecutive quarters where the GDP is down. And a depression. Gross national product. That's every goods and services. And if it's down for a long time, then you have a depression. I think it's got to be 4 or 6 or something, maybe years. So things are in cycles. Don't get depressed.
Well, what about this employment problem we're having now? We're saying that there's unemployment problems, yet there are help wanted signs everywhere. And the people they're getting are not that great. This is the problem that I just read up on, and we talked about this. Companies are sticking to part-time workers because they don't have to pay them benefits. They get to put their shifts whenever they want to. They're not paying full-time people to do nothing. And they're making money. They're making more money with part-timers than they are with full-timers, and they don't want to break that cycle. This is all about free. This is about free labor.
It's essentially free labor.
And it hasn't stopped.
It's if they discover some planet wherever and they like the movie Avatar, whatever, that they find a group that they can exploit for less money, it's a good chance they're going to get exploited.
Good chance?
Yeah, it's a good chance, unless Darth Vader hits them with the death ray or something.
How about I would bet money on that one? They'll get exploited. All the people in McDonald's will be avatars. They'll be nice. Nobody will say anything to them. They don't need to eat. Who knows what happens? But they'll be great employees.
Well, that's happening now because a lot of the McDonald's stuff is going to be with robots anyway. So we don't need to go to another planet.
Oh, yeah. It was Neanderthal, Homo sapien, and now AI. Watch. Yes. You watch. We talked about that before.
Yes. So.
All right. Super Bowl, baby. I have to admit, Tom Brady just retired. Now, let's talk about Tom Brady for a second, because he was the greatest quarterback ever. We know that. But he's gone to another level. Mm-hmm. Is he one of the greatest team players ever? Is he up there with Bill Russell? Is he up there with Babe Ruth? Is he up there with Willie Mays? Is he one of the greatest team players of all time? Because Bill Russell, he's got 7 championships. Bill Russell has 11. So we're talking on a whole nother level, Tom Brady. I have to give him credit. He didn't say one word about the New England Patriots, and he was with them for 20 years and won 6 championships with them. Not one word in his retirement. He retired, but think about this. He left that team and went and won another championship, and the team didn't. So I guess he proved his point. But that was kind of cold. He didn't say anything about the Patriots. Yeah. And I felt bad about this. He didn't say anything about his fellow teammates in the Patriots and the Patriot fans. And I think they deserved a shout out.
Yeah, I think didn't he do that when he left the Patriots originally and came to Tampa? I thought he recognized them in New England. I might be wrong on that, but maybe that was a long time ago. And he's not that long ago, but he's so consequential that it might have been nice to have done it. But he's into a lot of things. First of all,
Dr. Paul, you're not wrong. So whatever you think, I believe.
Okay, I think he's coming out with a fashion line. He's got other stuff going.
Oh, he's got the Tom Brady brand going big time. Yeah. You know, his health brand. He's got clothing. He's got a lot of things. And his wife makes plenty money.
Yes. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see him be like the actor Paul Newman, have his own brand. In fact, I bought some Newman, not endorsing him, but I bought some Newman olive oil last night. I was looking at a bunch. I like his stuff. The stuff is pretty good. The Paul Newman brand. It's going to be popcorn or whatever. It's pretty good stuff.
Very high quality. You know, but talking about football and talking about Black history, the NFL is being sued by Brian Flores, a Black coach who was fired from the Miami Dolphins after 2 winning seasons. Right now, in this year, there is 1 Black coach representing all the NFL football teams, 1 Black coach, and 70% of the players are Black. And this man right here has just thrown his career to the wind, but he said this is bigger, way bigger than football. Now, there's a couple of things here that I want to discuss. First of all, do you have the right to tell somebody who owns a business who to hire and who not to hire? That's number 1. Number 2, don't we have a responsibility in this country for things to be fair? Well, remember I told you when things, inflation, make more money? You tell me this, Paul. How come Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jackson back in the day, how come we don't put our very wealthy Black people together and buy a damn team? How come we don't put our very wealthy Black players, football players, and buy a hockey team? How come we don't get all of our Black baseball players, pool up, know what they're doing, and buy a football team? You see, there are answers to these problems, but it takes working together. Right, and you don't have to just have Black money to do it, but make sure the ownership is Black, and then you won't have this problem. But money will buy these teams.
Right. Well, Shaul, Jordan has the Hornets.
Correct.
Hornets. They're all short. Correct. And there are other athletes that have their hands in some things. I think the Williams sisters own a big piece of the Miami Dolphins, and Magic Johnson's got a
Not big
part.
enough.
Well,
They
obviously
don't
not.
own something big enough because the man was fired from the Miami Dolphins. And then another black coach came out and was telling people, and this is true, he said he can back it up, that he was getting, they offered him $100,000 a game to lose at the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns owners offered him $100,000 a game to lose so they could get the best draft pick.
Okay, yeah, I thought that was the Miami Dolphins.
No, this is, well, I'm sure
Maybe
it was them too.
not.
But the news yesterday or right now is that the Cleveland Browns coach said this.
Okay, it might be a tactic, might be a common tactic.
Of course, that's how it's called. It's called
Get
tanking.
a draft choice.
Except, think about this. Yes, these pro teams kind of tank, but they don't tank because they're not trying. They just don't put out the best players. Okay. But if you knew that an owner was paying somebody to tank, that's illegal. People are betting on these games.
Yeah. Basically paying someone to take a dive, like in boxing.
100%. And the NFL has to keep its credibility. But what do you think about this black coach problem?
Well, all of a sudden he's going to be bigger in the news than Kaepernick for a while. But the thing was how it was discovered, because someone basically was interviewing for a position that had already been filled days earlier. And that got out by accident from a text, from an accidental text.
By who?
By Bill Belichick.
That's right. He
congratulated the guy on getting the job. And then I think it was another guy, the same first name. It was another Brian. And the other Brian got the job. And so, I heard you got it. Okay. So again, like the case of the mafia mob boss that got nabbed and put in jail or was about to face jail at the 80s, 87, because the young guys were texting too much. Text can get a lot of people in trouble.
Yeah, I think it's a shame. And if I had ball players under me, I wouldn't let them go on social media, or I would have a professional deal with their social media, period. Because one tweet, one bad thing can cost you your job.
Which is why we outsource.
Remember Paul Pierce? He had one picture. He's done. And he was on TV every single day. Let's talk about Omicron just a little bit. Did you know the United States has the highest death rate of any high-income country in the world? Do you know we have the lowest vaccination rate of any high-income country in the world? And the countries I'm talking about are Belgium and Britain and France and Germany, Sweden, Netherlands, Canada, Japan, and Australia. We are the worst. That really sucks. And I just found out this number. If you're boosted, there's a 1 in a million chance that you will die from this disease. Yet, if you're unvaccinated, there's 8 in 100,000 chance you will die. I don't like those odds. I like the 1 in a million. And guess what the Army's doing? They've had it. Anybody's not vaccinated, they're kicking them out right now. Good news also, researchers are coming up with a nasal spray. Actually, it works better because that's where the virus comes into your nasal.
That'll be a good. I think you'll have a lot less hesitancy with that, other than it being purely political, and then it gets kind of dumb.
Yeah, there's a lot of things get kind of dumb, but this doesn't. Do you remember in the beginning of the show we were talking about a wingman?
Oh yeah, wingman. Okay, go ahead. And
I said, is it possible for education to get in the way of a young man going to see Africa? And the answer is yes.
Tell me how. Tell me how. How did that happen?
You see, the two guys behind me is little Buddy Drew, who was me, and that's Cassius Clay, who was Muhammad Ali. And my dad, who trained Muhammad Ali, Drew Bundini Brown, who came up with Float Like a Butterfly, Sting Like a Bee. He took me to as many fights as he could. Now, remember, his number one priority with me was school. No ifs, ands, or buts. It was a nuclear button. Mm-hmm. And we just didn't push that button. And it was education. No kidding either. I didn't go to school. I didn't go to college because I wanted to. I went to college because he gave me two choices, college or death. I picked college. So that was that. So anyway, he calls me up. He says, you want to go to Zaire? Because the champ was going to fight George Foreman. Heck yeah, Dad, I can't wait. When do we go? When do we go? And he said, but just one thing, do you have school then? I'm in college.
Mhm.
I said, yes, I have school. But Dad, I have a 3.2 grade point average. My classes that I would miss, I'll have work from. I won't miss a thing. I won't skip a beat. He says, no, you can't come. I said, what? I said, wait. Will you talk to one of my teachers, please? Teachers. I have professors, but to him, would you talk to one of my teachers? He said, sure. So I get with Dr. Wilson. He's my economics professor. Okay. He loves my dad. He loves the champ, but I also have an A in his class, and him and I really got along. He was a nice man. Well, my dad calls him up, and Dr. Wilson's so excited to talk to my dad. And they're talking, and then Dad says, hey, does my son have school that week? And Dr. Wilson said, you should be very proud of your son. He has a really good grade point average. And in my class, he has an A, a 4.0, which 4.0 meant nothing to my dad. But he has an A in that class.
Mhm.
And you should be really proud of him. I'll make sure that he makes up his work. He said, I don't mean to be rude, Dr. Wilson, but does he have school that week? Well, he said, yes, he does. He said, thank you very much. Nice talking to you. Calls me up, says, boy, you can't go to Africa. Now, back then, I thought that was the most ludicrous decision I've ever heard in my life. That just didn't make any sense. And now that Daddy is a spirit with me, and I look back on it, the reason I am who I am is because of my education. And he was telling me, you've been seeing fights all your whole life.
I was thinking that.
You'll get to Africa on your own. Please don't, but you're not going to miss school. Dr. Wilson, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, you've been to a bunch of fights. You missed that. That was a pivotal one, no doubt, especially when he hit him on the chin and he timed it perfectly and Foreman went down.
Man, it looked like he was bowing to him.
It looked like, yeah, but you see it on TV for like 600 times. Okay, fine. I don't think you missed that much.
Oh, no, I went to all the Frazier fights. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah,
I'm really proud of my daddy sticking to his guns.
Yeah,
I see what education meant to him.
Right. That's a good story. You missed a lot, but you didn't at the same time. You gained a lot. And look how you turned out. Look at that little boy behind you. What happened to him, though?
He got big.
There you go.
And now he's 17 with 50 years experience.
That's right. He's been around the sun 67 times.
Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time, and that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth and goodwill towards all men and women.